Broadcasting live from the Joy 106.3 FM studios, it's the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show with host Coach Daryl Williams. Wildcats, let's flip the switch and do this.
Very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. I'm here with my co-hosts, Mr. Ralph Smith and Mr. C.C. Cruz, and we'll have Jerry Bill coming on with us a little later, and I'm your host, Daryl Williams. Guys, how was your week? Coming off a homecoming week here in Daytona Beach, Florida, and came up a little short there in Daytona Stadium on Saturday evening. But overall, how was your week?
My week was fantastic. I can't wait until Saturday because we get another opportunity to put a win on the chart, and that's what I'm waiting for. I know the guys are coming. I know they're going to be there. I know the coaches are working their butts off. We just haven't been able to put it all together, but I'm excited about Saturday.
Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, I agree, Ralph. My week was fantastic as well, and I'm looking for the Wildcats to come out and take a victory coming up.
Most definitely, and we will cover that here shortly. That victory hopefully will come this weekend here. Just so we're putting it out now, kickoff on this Saturday is scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Daytona Stadium. Kickoff 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Daytona Stadium here in Daytona. Guys, that'll take us right into our SWAC week recap. Matchups from this week. Arkansas Pine Bluff goes to Alabama State. Final score of that game, Alabama State 35, Arkansas Pine Bluff 15. Our next game, Grambling goes to Alcorn State. Alcorn wins that game 24-20 over Grambling. And then Jackson State goes into Alabama A&M for Alabama A&M's homecoming. Final score of that contest, Alabama A&M 15, Jackson State 61.
I tell you what, Ralph. Did you expect that at all?
You know, actually, I called Alabama A&M to win that game.
Okay.
So, no, I didn't expect that.
Then we have Texas Southern playing Southern. That game was played in the Cotton Bowl. Final score of that game, Southern 31, Texas Southern 35. And I know I get the looks from my co-hosts here because of that game kind of went off the rails in the last minute of the game. Some controversial calls there, which we know those all too well. So,
but a SWAC conference is full of controversial calls.
It's full of them.
I mean,
we thought we just got them.
See, one of the things we have to learn in Wildcat land, if you're going to beat a team in the SWAC, you ain't going to win any close games in the SWAC. You got to
blow them out. Yeah.
You got to beat them.
Yeah. And then your way to the blowout, you got to,
right.
Make it convincingly and not let, the stripes trip you up.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
South Carolina State goes down to Tallahassee. Final score of that game, South Carolina State 7, FAMU 30.
Now, honestly, I'm a little shocked at that. I really thought that South Carolina State would put up more offense. And, we all know that South Carolina State in past years, has a tremendous defense. So that score really does shock me.
And I agree with you. I kind of picked South Carolina State to win that game, but I kind of saw South Carolina State in the last quarter against us and I thought we moved the ball pretty easily against them. So I'm shocked, but I'm not really that shocked.
Right.
And then finally, which is a game we'll cover later, Mississippi Valley State plays our Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Final score of that game, Mississippi Valley State 20, Bethune-Cookman 14. We came up on the short end of that contest here on a Saturday afternoon. There you have it. That's a SWAC week recap from last weekend. Now we'll move on to the Pro First Sports Management SWAC week schedule, and we'll cover some rankings while we're doing the after we cover the schedule. All right. So as we said, Prairie View A&M, the Panthers come into Daytona Beach, Florida this Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff against our Wildcats. That game will be live on Cat Eye Network, but you can also see it live here in Daytona Beach, Florida, 1 p.m. kickoff. We'd love to see you face in the place, and we'll cover that game a little later. Florida A&M goes to Alabama A&M. That game scheduled for a 2 p.m. kickoff there in Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama State is going into Jackson State for Jackson State's homecoming.
Well, I can tell you that's going to be a barn burner. I think. Other than watching our Wildcats, that's going to be the game to see as well.
I agree with you because that game, everybody, of course, in Mississippi is thinking it's going to be a blowout, but I don't really think. And not that I think that Alabama State is that great, but I think that Jackson State have already had their high, and now they're going to come back because you got to remember, just the week before they played Alabama A&M, they struggled with Delta State.
Right.
So
exactly.
Again, I think that game is going to be a lot closer than what we expect.
Yeah, I agree.
Southern is going into Arkansas Pine Bluff. That game's scheduled for a 3 p.m. kickoff here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
See, these two teams, to me, are having really strange seasons because I thought they were much better teams than what they've shown thus far. I thought both of those teams was excellent, but they're running into some rough times, and I'm not quite sure. The game that I saw Pine Bluff lose to Alcorn, Pine Bluff should have won that game easily, but they didn't finish.
Right, and we know you have to finish.
We're well aware of finishing.
Yeah, definitely. Then you have Texas Southern. They're riding off that high of beating Southern, going into Grambling. That game scheduled for 3 p.m. Central Standard Time kickoff. They're in Grambling, Louisiana.
Wildcats, Southern won that game on a very controversial call. And again, what I said earlier, if you're going to play in the SWAC, you got to win convincingly. You can't leave it to the guys in the strikes. I actually Grambling by 10 in that game.
Grambling by 10. Okay.
I think Big Noah is really going to be a factor, in this game. He's a freshman. He's about 6'4", and 200-some odd pounds, man, and can throw and can run. So I think Grambling is feeling pretty good about what he brings to the table. I got Grambling by 17.
Grambling by 17. All right. Alcorn State playing Mississippi Valley State. That game in Mississippi Valley State, and it'll be in a 4 p.m. kickoff.
I'm going with Alcorn State. I'm going with Alcorn State by 14.
Alcorn by 14.
I have to go with Ralph. I take that as well. I think that Mississippi Valley, their win streak stops right here. So I'm going to go with Alcorn as well.
Okay. Mr. Bell, do we have you on the line?
Yes, sir. How you gentlemen doing?
Doing
Wonderful.
great, man. Doing
Wonderful,
great.
wonderful.
Glad to have you here with us. It's going to be a very exciting and interesting and it's going to be a great show. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to all our listening audience. You do not want to miss this show. It's going to be very informative, very enlightening.
Yes.
Very enlightening. And we're here to bring it to you. We're here to bring it to you. No holds barred. All right. Jerry, how was your week?
Absolutely.
How was your week?
How How's my week? Personally, or as a Wildcat fan? That's two different things.
Let's go personally. Let's go personally, and then since this is the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show, we'll go Wildcat. So personal first, and then we'll go Wildcat.
We're all good. Everything's good in my world. All the really critical things in life, those things are in place, and so I'm happy. I'm doing well. My life is great. I'm a little bit concerned about you three gentlemen, though, because y'all keep calling the team from Lowman, Mississippi, Alcorn. They have a problem with that.
Yeah,
they say it's all corn, and so I think that we got you got about 2.5, 3 weeks to practice on that before we have to deal with them. It's all corn. The other thing is, you guys are trying to predict what's going to happen next in the SWAC. If there's anything that we've learned over the last 15, 20 years in the SWAC, it's unpredictable.
Unpredictable. There's a song to that effect, huh? Yeah.
but hey, Jerry, I'm quite sure the folks in Mississippi has some issues with that pronunciation as well, though.
Well,
listen, man, it just depends on. For all my life, it was Alcorn. Now, every time I mention around one of them, I have to put up my dukes.
Our vernacular is just a little different. They have to understand, There's a little country here, but we ain't, No, but it's all in fun. So, how was your Wildcat week?
Shocking.
He said,
It was very shocking, and I think shocking because the overall record. It was shocking because anytime you lose a game, you're stunned. It was shocking because it was homecoming. It was shocking because it's Mississippi Valley State initially. But when you take a step back and you look at all of those things, you start to try to process things a little bit more. And I'm still shocked. I'm not going to lie to you. But you're like, okay, Mississippi Valley might be a little bit. I think we mentioned last week, Mississippi Valley is a little bit better than they have been. We know that. And,
definitely.
They have coaching staff over there that know what they're doing. It's Bethune-Cookman, we're 0-6, but besides the game, we take out the FBS games. The games on our level, they've all been one possession games, with the exception of the game against Alabama State. You look and you think, where did we play awful this weekend? At what position were we awful? And then you're like, I don't know where we were awful, but I can't necessarily tell you where we were great either. So you start to take a step back and you look and you're like, what's going on? I mean, I wish I could turn the tables over and say, you know what? This unit right here, they just need to. But no, everybody just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, to be honest with you. I'm still in shock. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Still in shock. All right. We'll cover our SWAC football standings. In the East, Jackson State comes in conference 2-0, overall 4-1. Alabama State 2-1 in conference, 3-2 overall. FAMU 1-1 conference, 3-2 overall. Mississippi Valley State 1-1 in conference, 2-3 overall. Alabama A&M 1-2 over conference, 3-2 overall. Our Wildcats in the East 0-3 in conference and 0-6 overall. On the west side of the house, Prairie View comes in 3-0, 4-1 overall. Alcorn comes in.
Was that okay, Jerry?
Comes in at 2-0.
It's not me, man. It's not me. I'm just trying to warn y'all ahead of time.
Comes in at 2-0 in the conference and 3-2 overall. Southern comes in at 1-1 in the conference and 2-3 overall. Texas Southern 1-1 conference, 1-3 overall. Grambling State 1-2 conference play. Overall, they're 2-4. And Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in at 0-3 in the conference and 1-4 overall. Now for our FCS Computer Rankings, Jackson State checks in at 27. They were previously 24. Prairie View comes in at 35. They were previously 32. FAMU comes in at 47. They were previously 45. Texas Southern comes in at 71. They were previously 103. Alabama State comes in at 78. They were previously 77. Alcorn State comes in at 79. They were previously 78. Grambling State comes in at 93. They were previously 63. Alabama A&M comes in at 104. They were previously 64. Southern University comes in at 106. They were previously 83. Mississippi Valley State checks in at 112. They were previously 111. Arkansas Pine Bluff checks in at 114. They were previously 99. And our Bethune-Cookman Wildcats check in at 128, previously 124. Any surprises there, guys, in power rankings?
Wait, hold on. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Bethune-Cookman checked in at 128, right?
Yes, sir.
For academic purposes, how many teams are in FCS?
I think we talked about it before, like 126, right? Something.
128, right?
Right.
So you mean to tell me the computers think we're the worst team in the FCS? That's this. I don't want to talk no more, y'all.
Darn those computers, man. Yeah, if you want to fix it, we got to fix it. I mean, there's only one way to do it.
One way to fix it.
It's only one way to fix
That's it.
Win, baby, win.
That's it.
Guys, hungry Mississippi Valley Delta Devil football team comes in to Daytona Beach. 4 p.m. homecoming. Coming into this game, we discussed this on the show, guys. Coming into this game, how was your feeling coming 1 o'clock? We all met up at 1 o'clock at the stadium and had a grand time at the Hill Wildcats tailgate. Going into that game, you know, even hanging out with some of the coaching staff prior to the game, Coach Franks and a couple other guys hanging out. What was your feeling coming into that contest? Honest feeling, standing in the parking lot before kickoff, toe touch leather.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought that we was just gonna win the game. I'm not gonna say that I thought we were gonna run away with the game, but I definitely thought that we were going to win the game, and I felt real good about it as well.
You know, what we did at the beginning of that game is exactly what I was thinking we would do based on what we did at South Carolina State. I thought that we would start fast, and we started fast. However, what happened to us has been happening to us all season. We drove the ball down the field, and we came up empty-handed. That touchdown was our touchdown to have, but we came up empty-handed. And what, you know, like I said before, our kids have not learned how to finish. And until they learn how to finish, and we're talking about young kids. We're talking about kids who probably playing more college football today than they've ever played in their entire life. But that was, to me, the telling thing of what was going to happen in the rest of the part of the game, because we should have scored on that first drive.
But I will say, Ralph, you know, and just looking at the overall picture, for me, the positives, you know, even though we did lose, but I did like the way the defense played.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
I was 100.
Absolutely.
We came out, you know, we played man. I thought that the defensive backs, they played well. I thought the linebackers played well. I thought that the defensive line got a push, but not as much as a push that I would have liked to see. But overall, I really saw something positive, you know, with the defense. You know, so there is a positive coming up this weekend.
As Ralph said, we start fast. We got on the board. 3-yard touchdown pass from Devin Black to Ron Mallard. Failed extra point. We lead the game 6-0. Mississippi Valley comes back out. They take the ensuing kickoff, 71 yards in 10 plays. Mr. Eason found Dontavius Porter for a 22-yard strike, making the score 7-6. Okay? Just before the end of the half, of course, we deliver another strike. Find Kamari Everett in the back of the end zone, and then we get a 2-point conversion. Okay, 14-7 going into halftime. Okay, so it's halftime. Your thoughts?
Okay, so it's a piece that we're missing and nobody's mentioned it yet. Is our best receiver. Number 2 has not played in 2 games. I think we missed that kid a lot more than what we realize, because he was our clutch receiver. And he took a lot of pressure off of our tight end.
I echo your sentiment, but I guess from my coaching point of view, it's the next man up. Someone else has to deliver and fill in for.
Yeah, on a senior-led team, that would be correct. But we're talking about a bunch of freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, yes, I agree. I mean, I can see both sides of that, but I'll say this. Like, they don't make them like Marcus Riley every day. I mean, you like the next man up mentality, but that guy is he's special, and what he offers, it's not just who's the next best receiver that can go in and fill in the gap. He can take the top off of any defense. And so without him in the lineup, those safeties can cheat a lot more. They can get down a lot faster. You're not worried about, many of those other guys running past you. And so it's going to make the running game a little bit more difficult. Marcus Riley is the type of guy, when he shows up on the field, you have to account for him.
You have to account.
But I agree. I think not having him, rather he catches 7 passes or catch 3 passes or whatever. Just having him on the field, it does change what defenses have to do schematically. You have to at least know where that guy is. So, yeah, that's a big loss.
Cece, go ahead. You asked.
No. I was just asking. I meant echoing what Jerry said. I mean, he's really tremendous. I mean, that's the kid from Tallahassee, and I saw him play several times. When he was in high school. Now, what's his availability for this game?
Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out again.
Okay.
Still waiting on some information tests to come back.
Okay.
Yeah. Look. He's played 4 games? So we played 6 games. He didn't play in the last 2.
Right.
I don't know about eligibility status, going forward and all these other things. But if he has an injury, he only played 4 games. You got to start looking and say we're not competing for a conference championship. You got to at least question: do you try to? Is he eligible for a medical red shirt? Is he eligible for a red? He's played 4 games, so you got to start thinking about what's in his best long-term interest and what's the. Now I know that I'm saying that from the sideline. Sometimes you go out and he's like, we want to win games. It's hard to tell an athlete that's available, we're going to put you in cotton. It's hard to tell a team that's trying to win their first game, you're going to take one of your best players and put them up. But I do think you have to at least put that in the back of your mind and figure, long term, what's going to be the best decision for him. This is just me speculating, just going through my, maturations and you start thinking about some of these things.
See, Jerry, for me, I'm always going back to the El Paso game. To me,
as we heard at practice today,
yeah, right.
That was the Wildcat football team that we're missing now. And Marcus Riley just caused all kinds of issues for Texas El Paso. They couldn't do anything with him. So I'm saying the team that I saw in El Paso is a team that's missing. That team is missing. Now, I don't know what's going on because I'm not a coach, and I don't deal with these kids 24/7. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just saying that team, that was a totally different team than what you saw Saturday. That's just my opinion.
Let's bring the fans up to speed. I know everyone's there. First play of the fourth quarter, Mississippi Valley comes out, ties the game at 14-14 from 1 yard out. Our Wildcats turn the ball over. Mississippi Valley State comes back down the field again, scores the winning touchdown, as we would call it, 20-14, off a 14-yard touchdown run. Our Wildcats had a chance to either tie the game up or take the lead, seal the game. Let's go to that drive, guys.
See, that drive started out with a lot of promise. Just like the drive that we drove against Alabama A&M, which them suckers should have never left Daytona with an L, with a W. They should have took a whooping. But that drive started off almost exactly the same way, and almost we got down to the 4-yard line, and we couldn't punch it in, and that's on us. That's on us. We couldn't punch it in. Personally, number 6 had already scored the touchdown. Number 6 had already scored the touchdown. But I'm just saying. Number 6 had already scored the touchdown.
You got to do it decisively, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I know he's had a chance to look at the film now. Haven't had a chance to talk to him since then, but in the press conference after the game, Coach Sims certainly felt like Jimmy Robinson, number 6, scored a touchdown as well. And so he at least insinuated that, he made a statement along the lines of, we're not going to talk about what a touchdown is and isn't. I think he probably knew that SWAC officials were, the front office was listening, but at least I think the coach agreed with you that he scored a touchdown. But, put that aside. We still got it 1st and goal.
Yes.
From the 4-yard line. You got 4 downs to get 4 yards.
Yes.
And so, I would, you tell me you got a chance to win a game, 1st down from the 4-yard line, I'm going to say you need to win that ball game. And so the 1st down play, we get 1 yard, and then came back again. Coach Sims said he wanted to be aggressive, but we had three pass plays. I think the 2nd down play, I like. Be aggressive. Attack the end zone. Now, I couldn't tell from my vantage point if that ball was deflected or if Everett dropped the pass. A couple people around me say it looked like he got deflected. Did you guys have a vantage point of that?
I thought it got deflected.
Yeah, it looked like it. Off his fingertips, there was a Mississippi Valley State player a linebacker standing right there when the ball was thrown. And with the player standing there, Kamari was still going forward and almost had to turn around with one hand and kind of move the ball to him.
Right.
But
Gotcha. But then so now it's 3rd down and 3. A 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. We didn't get the play in timely, had to use a timeout. That was critical. Somehow didn't run the ball. I would have liked to have seen us run the ball there, see if you can get a yard, 2 yards, even run some version of an RPO or something. Give yourself a couple of options down there. But I like to see us punch that ball in right there. We kind of line up in a bunch formation, run flood right route in the right side of the end zone. Didn't go too well. Come back out for the 4th down play now. Now you're almost forced to run the ball from right there, especially when on 4th down, you burn your final timeout. Oh, that's just a killer. Because even if you wanted to run the ball now, you say, okay, we get them pinned down. You still got the time, you got the clock working with you. So we burn a timeout. And what do we come out with? The same play. And nothing's there. They're all over it. Black scrambles, get down in the yard short. I don't know if there's something they saw on film. They feel like that play was in their back pocket, but they went to it twice after timeout, and we walk away with nothing. That is devastating and crushing. But at least you feel like we got them. At least it's 5 minutes left, right? 5 minutes on the clock, something like that. Was it 3 minutes or 5 minutes? I can't remember.
No, I was wrong.
Either way, they got the ball on the 1 yard line, and we start to drive off with the penalty.
Yeah.
Oh no! Just the whole. Because we think about the offensive sequence, but you still have a chance to get the ball back with some time. But we wasted timeout, and then you start out with a chance to give your team back the ball at least near midfield, and you start out with the penalty. It was just.
And was that the penalty, the defensive holding against?
I think it was.
Yeah.
No, that came much older, much earlier. That came much earlier.
Okay. Which that was a strange call
The
anyway, because that lineman was being held terribly by Mississippi Valley State, and the penalty went against the Wildcats. But that goes to
but see, I don't want us to get into saying that the officiating caused
never.
But
never.
see, my thing, what Jerry was saying, I totally agree with what he was saying. But again, all this comes back to having young players and not seasoned players. But
at some point, Ralph, and I understand, and I know Jerry understands what you're saying, but at some point, we have to start growing up. You're 5 at that point in time. You're 5.5 games in because you're into the 6th game. So 5.5. The majority of these players went through a spring practice.
However, the offensive coordinator didn't go through a spring practice. And my question is he running his offense, or he's running somebody else's offense?
I think he's running someone else's offense. Yeah. If he came in July 31st and we started practice beginning of August, there's just no time. No. If you ran that offense during the spring and coming into preseason, there's not a time to change.
Yeah, I don't think you can't really judge him, until he has a full season. So you start judging him, after that FAMU game, moving forward. You can't come in on the 31st and install something and expect it to work. So he's using someone else's offense right now.
However,
first and goal from the 4, man. You gotta.
Let's get back.
I guarantee you this.
No,
when Coach Sims offered him the job in the summer, I'm sure the full expectation was, if we have a chance to take the lead at the end of the 4th quarter, and I give you first and goal from the 4-yard line, then you can figure out a way to get us those 4 yards. So, it was late in the season. It's tough on them. It may not even be fair. But you know what? That's why we love sports, right?
Yeah,
it's because of the improbable. It's because of overcoming the obstacles. It's because of all the things that are set against you. And so you got to find a way to get 4 yards. You've had enough practices between August and mid-October to figure out how to get 4 yards. So that's tough. I can't blame the late arrival on. Maybe this team will be averaging 38 points a game. He was there all year. Maybe they'll be averaging 45 points. I get all of that, but I'm sure when those two gentlemen looked each other in the eyes, Mr. Jones and Mr. Sims, you got to get them 4 yards. You don't even have to use the word. Sometimes your eyes will say everything. We got to get them yards. That's got to be a touchdown.
You got to get them.
In the contest Saturday, offensively, Bethune-Cookman was led by Devin Black, who finished the game with 307 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Our running back, Quayshawn Bird, led on the ground with 8 catches for 145 yards, while Everett finished 5 catches for 139 yards and a touchdown. Ontario Johnson had a game-high 14 tackles on the day.
But just imagine, though. Just imagine if Mr. Black was a little bit more seasoned and he had 333 yards.
Yes. And we heard that today, right?
Yeah. Just imagine, though.
Yeah.
Let me give Jones his credit. I like what he did with Quayshawn Bird this game. Quayshawn played mostly in the slot, and he didn't run for 130 yards, but he had 130-something yards receiving because Quayshawn is great in space.
Exactly.
So they ran a lot of bubbles to him, get him out wide, get him in space, put the ball in his hand, and let him go make a play. And he went out and made plays. I give him credit for that. I do give him credit for that. I'm still trying to. My fingers counting for you.
Okay, you still at first and 4. I totally agree with you on that one, buddy.
Stats on the day. Mississippi Valley State total yards 360 yards. Bethune-Cookman finishes with 479. Mississippi Valley State 137 passing yards to Bethune-Cookman's 322 yards. Rushing yards, Mississippi Valley State 223, Bethune-Cookman 157. Penalty yardage, Mississippi Valley State 4 penalties, 20 yards. Bethune-Cookman 8 penalties, 64 yards. First downs on the day, Mississippi Valley State 23, Bethune-Cookman 16. Third down conversions, Mississippi Valley State went 8 of 15, while our Wildcats went 2 of 10.
See, to me, that's a problem statistic. 2 and 10.
That continues to occur.
We was a little worse the week before.
Right.
2 and 10 is a problem.
Right. Fourth downs, Mississippi Valley State 1 and 1, Bethune-Cookman 0 and 1 on fourth downs. And for the kicker, time of possession, Mississippi Valley State 38 minutes, Bethune-Cookman 17 minutes.
That's the biggest problem of all, as far as I'm concerned. We got to figure out how and what we need to do to hold this ball longer than our opponent and make it worth our while.
Because usually the team that holds the ball the longest usually wins.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Usually.
It's clock management, right?
Yeah,
we know,
usually.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
usually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a funny stat, right? Because forever it was time of possession matters. And then you get kind of, modern football. That stat is not nearly as important as it used to be. That third down stat is something different. Now you got to be able to get off the field on third down and keep the ball where you have
got
it.
to.
But I will say this. I want to. I know we're talking about Bethune-Cookman, and again, like I said, you think about this. At some point, I walked away, and I'm like, who I do applaud? I applaud Mississippi Valley, their coaching staff, for this reason. I'm trying to think. I should have pulled this up in the box score. I don't remember. Did Mississippi Valley have any place over 15 yards?
That quarterback run in the fourth quarter was probably right at the 15-yard mark. Yeah.
Right. The long scramble.
Right.
But you start thinking about the game, it was like
it was not.
They
it was
played old school.
Yes, they play old
It
school
was
football.
old school football.
Stop me! I'm running right at you.
In a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
3 yards in a cloud of dust. We are content with, and the fact that and that's why I say that third down stat is so critical, because we couldn't get them. You outlined the game, right? We score first. Okay, we think the crowd's gonna get into the game now. We missed the extra point. A little bit deflated. Then they come back and they just suck all the air out of this ball in the stadium and run it down our throat. And it's like every time we did something, because of their time of possession and just 3 yards here, 4 yards there, a little dump off for 5 yards first down. It sucked the momentum out of the stadium, the air out the stadium. The crowd never got into it. It sucked some of the life off the field. And at some point, you're like, those guys used what they had at their disposal. And they went and found a way to win consecutive games for the first time in 9 years. I wanted Bethune-Cookman to win. I'm still mad. I'm still upset. Pat on the back to those guys. We got to figure out, how do we use what's at our disposal, which is young talent, a lot of inexperienced guys. What can we do well that works for us so that we can get a check mark on the right side of the column?
That is an excellent question. That's an excellent question. Because Mississippi Valley, to me, on Saturday, reminded me of us. They found a way to win. That's the way Bethune's been the last 12 years. We always found a way to win. And that's what Mississippi Valley did to us on Saturday. They found a way to win.
We have to find a way. We have to find a way. And I understand the youth.
Well, I didn't mean to deflate everybody. I feel like I just took the air out of y'all. Like Mississippi Valley took the air out the ball.
No, I mean, but you sort of like made us think a little bit because those guys did find a way to win.
Right.
And when we was 1st and 4,
and
they were determined not to let us score. And I kind of think we shot ourselves in the foot too, though. But that's another story for another day.
with similar struggles.
Yeah,
if you read through the read between the lines,
between the lines. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
If not, okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
But you know,
they've been in a struggle for a long time.
Yes, they have.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. So,
but again,
and you know what? I'll say this much too. I will give Coach Sims this much. You know, I give him this pat on the back. When the game was over, I did ask him in the press conference about Mississippi Valley celebrate. Look, those guys celebrated on the field after that win like they just won the SWAC championship. You know, I mean, that wasn't just happy to win. That was almost like it was a sigh of relief.
Right.
But but some of that was, you know, I took that two ways. You know, maybe they're a little disrespected because you put them on for homecoming. You know, maybe that's also a pat on the back because Bethune-Cookman has been such a good program over the last 15 years. And they just went in and won that game. So, you know, that's, you know, props to them. And Coach Sims understood that and said they had the right. They won the game. They have a right to celebrate as much as they would like to. And so, you know, kudos to those guys. I'm ready for our guys to run around, take their shirts off, their jerseys off, do whatever they need to do to celebrate a win.
Exactly. That's where we are. That's where we are.
Yeah. So, but you listen. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but, you know, hopefully we figure it out. So, figure it out soon.
Well, see, and again, see, it wasn't Coach Sims' fault because all these guys either decided to graduate and not come back or decided that they were going to not do their work and fell out of school. However, that's nothing we can do. That's water under the bridge. So what we got to do is we got to win with the guys that put the work in and came back. We got to win with these guys. And we got to understand that nobody's going to give us anything, especially in the SWAC. You can forget it. They aren't going to give it to you.
So aren't we still broadcasting from a gospel radio station?
Yes, sir, we are.
All right. So
yes,
my pastor has a saying. My pastor has a saying. He you know, he says it all the time. So let me preach for about 15 seconds. He has a saying. His saying is, it's not your fault, but it is your problem.
Got that right.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It may not be your fault, but it is your problem. I love that because that's really where we are, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You got a bunch of guys that graduate. You got some kids that decide not to come back. You know, maybe kids taking care of. We don't know what's going on in their lives and why they did it and what's next for their careers. And so all of those things, those are complexities, but that's part of what makes college football so unique and different than college sports, different than professional sports. You can't just go out and, you know, throw a bunch of money at a guy, unless you're Alabama, but that's a different point. You can't just go and throw a bunch of money. You have to, kids will graduate, kids will flunk out of school, kids will cry because their girlfriend decided that she wanted to hang out with the Nukes and not you. I mean, all of those things are...
You struck a nerve with Brother Cruz there, man.
Now you hit below the belt there, Jerry.
Boy, Jerry, come on, man.
Okay, so she decided to hang out with the Qs then. How about that?
That sounds better.
I'm sorry about that, brother. But the point is that some things, look, they're not your fault, but it's your problem.
It's your problem.
You know, it's the problem that you got to try to find the answers to resolve. And again, that's what, you know, like you heard, there's no asterisk next to Mississippi Valley State win. There's no asterisk in there to say, you know, so-and-so, because you know what? They're dealing with kids that had to do the same thing.
Yes.
And so, again, all of us, everybody will. The only people that tell these stories is the team that lose. The team that win, it's a whole different tone. But if you go and you say how many kids got Jackson State just hung 61 on Alabama A&M, and they lost their best receiver to Michigan. They lost a couple of other players who transfer out. Now they got a bunch of them coming in, but you get my point. You still, you got to figure out, because we got a bunch of new guys on the roster, a bunch of new guys, and I think that's having an effect on us. It is. Trying to get those guys to come together and be a team, and you wonder why you play good for a quarter, not so good for the next quarter. You play good for a half, not good for you. Good in the pass game, not so good in the run game. Next quarter, half, you're good in the run game, you can't fix. All of that stuff is, it matters. But everybody's dealing with that. And you got to figure out it's not your fault, but your problem. So,
totally agree.
That brings us to our Prairie View A&M scouting report. On the ground, the Panthers are led by graduate transfer running back LaDainian Brooks, who's averaging 61 yards per game with a total of 244 net yards on 39 attempts. Their quarterback leads the team in the air, posting 256 yards per game, guys. I know we talked about this earlier at practice and things of that nature. So far this year, he's threw 1,200 for 12, almost 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. Antonio Mullins leads all receivers after playing in all 5 contests this year. He has a total of 318 catching yards and is averaging 13.25 yards per contest and 2 touchdowns on the season.
Look, guys, I say this, and I've said this for a couple of years. We talk about Connell Maynard being a good offensive coordinator. This cat Dooley, I think, my opinion, is the best offensive play caller in the SWAC. He does some things, man, that I have not seen any other team do at that particular time, whatever he needs to do on the field. So I think it's going to really be a good game. I think our defense is really going to have to be ready, because he definitely he puts those plays in, and they're continuously going forward.
Let me ask this question now. Did Prairie View play last week?
No. Prairie View's last game was October 2nd.
So somebody please explain to me, why is it that so far every team we played in the SWAC have the week off before they play us?
Hey, brother.
And South Carolina State, too.
Yeah, right.
Everybody has a week off before us.
Right. When did you join the SWAC?
June.
Okay.
And listen, not only that, but every team besides Alabama and them, they played Tuskegee. But every team that we played, the week after they played us, they came back and they lost. So,
wow, that's
Jared,
that's pretty good.
Historic about Cookman teams is like, look, somebody asked even in the preseason, I was like, look, if we I don't know where we'll finish, but I tell you this, bet against the team that play against us the week after, and it's proven true.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't even thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
South Carolina State got beat up by FAMU. Alabama State got beat up by FAMU. Alabama and them played against Tuskegee, and they won that game.
Barely.
We're supposed to talk about Prairie View, but anyway.
But Prairie View did not play last week, so they had almost a week and a half, because they played the Thursday before,
right,
to study us and prepare for us.
On the defensive side of the ball, safety senior Drake Cheatham leads the defense, 34 tackles, 17 solos, 17 assisted, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2 breakups. Their defense is okay. They they're third-ranked defense in the conference and the 97th ranked defense in FCS. And we just covered how many teams are in FCS a little earlier, correct?
Right.
Prairie View, 32nd in the FCS in offense. Number 2 in conference in offense. I need a game plan, guys.
Look.
I need a game
Hold
plan.
on for a second, though. These boys are aligned 493 yards rushing.
Mhm.
These boys is aligned 493 yards rushing.
Yeah.
856 pass.
Well, if you remember the game they lost was against Incarnate Word, and Incarnate Word beat them up at the line of scrimmage.
They did.
I think the game was 30-0. They just dominated the line of scrimmage, and so the game plan, you got to win at the point of attack. That's the way I see it. Win at the point of attack.
That was exactly the point that I was trying to get to.
But my point to that as a coach is that's after 5 games. So that's rushing. That's about 100 yards a game or less.
We rush for about 150 a game. So I'm saying if we attack them with that big offensive line that we got, we could control the game and control the clock as well. And that big 6'4" quarterback ain't throwing the ball up and down the field. That's just a point. Just a point.
How? So we're into our Alpha 1 staffing game plan.
Okay.
All right. You made your point, right?
Yes.
Tell me how you solidify your point.
Okay. I saw something today in practice.
You went to practice today?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
That we ran for the last 10 years, we always had a blocking tight end. Always. We always had that big kid back there blocking. And I saw that, and I'm thinking, now we cooking. Now we cooking. Because not only is he blocking for pass plays and cutting that guy down on the blitz, but he could be blocking for the run plays. We can run against these suckers. I'm telling you. I promise you. CC, I'm not betting you a stake.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Ralph.
So your game plan is pounding the ball, little pistol formation, running the wham, which, tight end come down and pick up the first man who shows.
If you look at the Bethune-Cookman teams over the last 12 years, when they ran the ball, they always won. When they dominated the line of scrimmage and ran the ball, we always won. We only passed.
Yeah.
Bethune only passed when it was necessary. Passing was not their thing. Running the ball was their thing. Do you agree, Jerry?
No, absolutely. That's been a hallmark of Bethune-Cookman is physicality. Playing physical on both sides of the ball. And you're right. When Bethune-Cookman has been good, it's because they were good in the running game. That's been a historic signature of Bethune-Cookman football. And
right.
so, I would love to see us. The question is, the question that yet remains is, can we go out and establish that? Can we go out and basically, assert our will on Prairie View? That's the question.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to see. And I would love to see that. I would love to see us go out there and beat them up at the line of scrimmage and, go out and establish a run and do what we need to do to get a victory. But heck, if we win by scoring 4 special teams touchdowns, I'll take that too. I just want to win.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
CC?
I just love what I seen today from the defensive side of the ball.
You went to practice too.
I went to practice too.
He doesn't do that usually, but
yeah. I went to practice too, and let me tell you, folks, I like what I see in our defense, and I'm expecting some big things Saturday. I really am. I'm not gonna say all what I saw, but I'm gonna say I'm expecting you're gonna see a different defense this Saturday for sure.
So from each one of you guys, including Jerry, I want 3 keys to victory. Ralph, you start us off.
okay. My first key is we got to get off the field. We got to hold third down. We got to be successful and get off the field. Number 2, we got to dominate on the line of scrimmage. Number 3, we cannot afford to return the ball over. Can't afford to do that.
I'm gonna chime in with Ralph with all three, but I'm going to also say for myself first downs. We got to win the first down battle.
Yeah.
And I would say another key, and I think Jerry would probably echo this. You hope to not get into a third down situation,
Exactly.
but we have to start capitalizing and bringing that top number up.
Right.
The conversion number, and equal it up to whatever. So, go ahead, Jerry.
Right. Yeah. No. You say keys to the game. I think when you look at Prairie View, that is a really good offense, and right now their quarterback is playing as well as anybody in the conference. So, we cannot allow. We got to have to limit the big plays. That's limit the big plays against our defense. That's number one. Number two, you said we need to play disciplined football. Don't turn the ball over. No penalties. We can't kill our drive with penalties, which is why we're not winning that first down, battle.
Right.
The conversion battle.
Right.
And then finally, we have to play for 60 minutes. Both sides of the ball, all three sides of the ball. We cannot do this sputtering, good for a moment, back off for another. So again, limit the big plays. Win that. Keep that intensity up, and make sure that we are absolutely playing for 60 minutes, not 30 minutes, not 20 minutes. We got to play for 60 full minutes, and then we'll see what happens at the end.
Totally agree.
Anything else for Saturday?
Just win.
Just win. Hey, listen, fellas, don't. Hey, listen, all the fans out there, don't. We are 0-6, and we're not used to this. However, it's not like we've been getting blown out every game. Right. So don't walk away thinking that we don't have a chance. We've been in every ball game, and you can argue that we could have won 5 out of the 6. Take UCF out of it. I am including El Paso in that.
Easily.
Bethune-Cookman could be 5-1 right now. Could. But we're not finishing. We're not making the plays. And so I just want to say that to you guys. It's not like we don't have a chance and we've just, we're the bad news bears out there.
Oh, no.
And so now it's about putting it all together, though. You got to put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Most definitely. You definitely have to put the pieces together and come out and enforce your will on teams.
And see, that's what we haven't done. And that's what the Wildcat teams in the past have been forcing their will. That's what we do. We dominate. We intimidate. And that's what we got to get back to.
Yeah. And I think, they've had some good practices this week, Ralph. And that's why I'm saying, man, I'm really expecting huge dividends, with our defense and along with our offense as well. I think we're going to see a different Bethune-Cookman Wildcat defense this weekend. What do you think, Jerry?
Just win, baby. I feel like Al Davis. Just win.
Just win.
But yeah, I'm with you. I would honestly. I was thinking about a couple years ago remember when Florida beat Georgia like 15 out of 17 years or something?
Right. Yeah.
And then Mark Richt finally got so upset because of that lose. He had to change the taste of losing in the mouth. And so Georgia went out and scored. And he had the whole team run on the field in the end zone. They danced and they took the helmets off. They did whatever they want. But they asked Rick about that at the game. And his thing was, we were letting Florida know that you're going to have to fight. If you want to win, Georgia wound up winning that game, by the way, and start shifting the tide of that. I'm like, I don't care what we need to do. We got to go out there and punch somebody in the mouth and let them know that, yeah, you might look at an 0-6 record,
right,
but you playing against Bethune-Cookman, and like Ralph said, we fight you.
Right.
We're not giving you an easy victory. You going to come in here, we expect to win. We're not looking at our record, and you're going to have to fight for 60 minutes if you want to beat us. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and again, we may be 0-6, but we're not an 0-6 team by far.
Exactly. And see what the fans have to understand too, though. Just like you're feeling bad because we were 0-6, what do you think about the coaches and the players? You think they're happy they're 0-6?
Oh no,
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, they're hurting inside as well because they know they're better.
You know what? The biggest thing is everyone has their opinion about, you spend your money, you go to the game, you can have your opinion.
Of course.
But to personally, attack and things of that nature, that's not what we're here for.
No.
I mean, everyone has been through a rough period of time.
Right.
And if we want to reference something, everybody has by now seen the article that came out, right?
Right.
Let alone COVID.
Right.
Take COVID out of
Right.
take COVID out of it, right? And we know we missed the season because of COVID.
Right.
But there were so many other things that started, prior to COVID that we know have went on throughout the university and things we had to do for us to even be on the show tonight to continue talking about Wildcat football, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Because on Saturdays we could have went 2 years without it. We could have went forever without Wildcat football if some changes weren't made.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
it's a conglomerate of things.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a
some
bit
of it's X's and O's. Some of it's X's and O's. It is.
It is.
But there's
It is, however, but I need our fans to understand, these coaches are really working hard, and I've seen it for myself. And they're working hard, to make sure that we can get a victory. And I don't think they're going to stop either. And these kids also, they're working hard. So we got to get behind them and just, like we always say, hell Wildcat.
Hell Wildcats. And look, the other thing that we need to say, though, and I think Darryl has already mentioned it earlier, the game is not going to start at 4 o'clock on Saturday.
Right.
The game starts at 1.
Right.
We need you to come there, get ready, make sure you had a good night's rest, and let's let the boys know that we're behind them and we support them.
Right.
They still have to have support.
100%. 100%. I'll say, let me say this. And I'll say this. And you're right. Fans have opinions, and there's a lot of things going on. I go back to the statement I made earlier. It's not your fault, but it's your problem. But I'll say this. I never get intimidated by angry fans. I think angry fans is actually a good thing. Your program is not in a bad situation when your fans are angry and upset and passionate. It means that they're still engaged. It means that they still care. What you don't want as a program is for your fans to become apathetic. When they stop caring, when they don't care anymore, that's when you have to, you're talking about at least one full recruiting cycle, maybe 2 or 3. Ask Florida State, ask the University of Florida. What happens when your fan base becomes apathetic and stop caring? Then they stop giving, then they stop showing up, then they have no expectation. So angry fans should not be an insult to a program. It should let you know that they're still engaged and they still care. Now, do we care as much as the guys in the locker room? No, those guys have a lot of pride, but they still are engaged. And so I'm not intimidated by that. I'm sure the athletic department, they're not intimidated by that. It means that fans have an expectation. And those guys, we're with you when you win. We're going to say hell Wildcats. When you lose, we'll still say hell Wildcats, but we might just say it with our teeth grit. We still grit together. That's okay. We still love the program and we're still engaged, but, don't misconstrue our passion to say that some kind of way we've abandoned the program.
No, we definitely not going to do that.
It's all about coming out and supporting guys. No matter what time we play, no matter where we play, it's about supporting. These guys are still out there battling. There's a lot of these guys who could have quit a long time ago and just gave up the fight and just, cashed it in, but they didn't. They continue to fight.
Right.
They continue to fight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome the one and only head coach of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, Coach Terry Sims. Welcome to the Hell Wildcats X's and O's show.
How's it going?
Good, Coach. Glad to hear from you. Saw you a little earlier, getting the Wildcats ready for our game this Saturday at 1 p.m. Just, Coach, for all our fan base, what do you want the Wildcat fan base to know?
Well, the first thing I want the Wildcats fan base to know is that the Wildcats aren't giving up. We're still fighting, regardless of our shortcomings. You know, we're young. We're playing a lot of young players. We lost a lot of guys to graduation and transfer due to COVID. But we're not going to quit. We're still fighting. We're still hanging in there, and we're going to not make excuses. Number one, and we're going to continue to do what we know how to do, and that's play the game of football and give our fans something to be proud of. I don't think these kids have quit one game. You know, we have had some penalties, we've had some misfires, some miscues, we've had some things happen to us that we wouldn't normally have happen, but that's the game of football, and that's why we do.
Most definitely, Coach. Most definitely. Jerry, go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, this is Jerry Bell. Thank you for joining us tonight. We know the season hasn't gone the way that we all hope from a wins and loss perspective, but tell us, what's the mood like in the locker room?
The mood is great in the locker room. We're not, you know, the guys are not down. You know, we're still doing things that we normally do. You know, we're coming to practice, we're getting ready, and we're not practicing any different. So that's the thing that's still encouraging, you know, with this football team. It's not that they don't care, but that they still see opportunities to play this game that we all say we love. So it's not a down mood. Guys are not packing it in. Guys are not just showing up just to be out there. They're actually coming working every day.
That's
Indeed.
good to hear. That's great to hear. Yeah. And so we know every Johnny and Joe who follows the program thinks they can identify why the results haven't been favorable up to this point. But do you believe you have identified the areas that need to be addressed to get the type of results that you expect from the team?
Yes, we're identifying them, you know, each week. And I think, you know, one of the biggest issues is what I said earlier. We're a young team, and when I say young, I don't necessarily mean just all freshmen. But we have a lot of freshmen that are having to play for us, and we have a lot of new guys that are new to our program that are having to play for one reason or another. You know, whether it be, you know, graduation or guys transferring, whatever. We have guys that are just learning our system, learning what to do. A lot of guys were not here in the spring. We only had, you know, those 15 days of spring practice. Then we would cut off with everything. You know, no workouts, no nothing. And the next time we saw our guys, after not seeing them all fall, was August 1st. You know, and that's not an excuse. It's just reality. And you know, one thing that I can give these young men, they're fighting every day. They're not giving up. They're not giving up on each other. They're not giving up on themselves.
Yeah. Well, speaking of identifying potential issues, and I think you just kind of alluded to some of them, but there was a rather explosive article that was released earlier this week by HBCU Game Day. I'm sure you've been queried on that 1,000 times by now, but first, have you had a chance to read the article? And if so, are there any issues in the article that you would like to address?
I have read it, and you know, at this time, no, I wouldn't care to address any of those because, you know, number one, you know, I have to follow the same thing I talk to our players about. You can't worry about things that you can't control. So, you know, what we're going to worry about is preparing this football team and making sure that we're able to put a product on this football field on Saturday that, you know, our fans can be proud of. And that's what we're focusing on because that's what we can control.
Most definitely, Coach. Most definitely.
Yeah, so do you feel like you have the support you need administratively to be successful?
I do. And you know, it's not a knock on either administration that I've had the opportunity to work with. I think, you know, number one, a lot of the folks that are here now, they got in late, not really, you know, knowing the lay of the land. So I'm not blaming anyone. I have been, you know, supported through this thing. And, you know, people in our new administration that are here, talking to me every day, trying to, fulfill the needs that we have. Some things that need to be taken care of around here. It's not an overnight process. And, I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. A lot of people, don't care to hear it, but it's reality. A lot of the things that we have to do, it's not something that we can, walk in the office and take care of tomorrow and we have it. There are things that have to be, planned out. We have to meet on them, and we have to make sure that we have enough people, and I'm speaking of the fans also, and our supporters that are going to be here because it's truly an all hands on deck situation right now.
I hear that. And so one of the things that came out in the article talked about just some of the difficulties or the hard times that your coaching staff had to endure. Do you want to just say anything about your coaching staff and how you guys have kind of been, basically been together for over a decade, here at Bethune-Cookman, and just how do you feel about those guys, and, just kind of trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle back together with that group of guys?
Well, it's something, again, that was outside of our control, but I think the world of all of those guys. I was an assistant with a large number of those guys on the staff. So, I worked down in the trenches with them, for 5 years. So there's not enough good things that I can say about them. And the hard times that we had to endure, not one guy on this staff turned and left and said, I'm gone, or I can't do this. Everyone was just trying to figure out a way to get it done. And that's something that I have to respect as a man. Guys that will go out, do what they have to do to take care of themselves and their families, and also be here and try to do what they can do for this football program and for these young men that we so dearly care for. We're trying to continue to build them as men, and it's not only about telling them about it. We have to show them. And I think every guy on the staff has shown each guy in their group how to do that, because no one left them. No one walked out on them. It was a group effort. Guys did what they had to do to take care of their personal business, but they were still here trying to make things happen for this program.
Most definitely.
Wow. Well, it's my last question. My last question, 2 parts, though. Come on. What should the fans expect from this team this Saturday going forward, and what do you guys need from us as a fan base to help support you guys?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to be the team that I think everyone saw in the first half last week. We started out aggressively in all 3 phases, and somehow we lost that a little bit in the second half, and it kind of drained the team. But that's what we're shooting for, and that's how we had practiced all week. We made a few adjustments, and we didn't use scout teams all week. We used them part of the time, but we actually had our ones run cards for our ones. One offense ran cards for one defense for a couple of periods, this week, just so we could get that fast look. So that's what you can, the fans can expect to see. We're going to continue to come out aggressively. We're going to continue to play hard-nosed football. But what we need from our fans, number one, is to show up. We need our fans to show up and support these young men. Myself, our other coaches, we're grown men. People can say what they want about us. It's fine. Don't attack the young men, because they're coming out every day. They're showing up, and they're working to try and make the university that they call home proud.
Most definitely, Coach. And, I truly echo the sentiments, and all the guys here on the show echo that. No doubt. We just, fans, we have to keep supporting the football team.
Right.
We have to keep supporting the football team through and through, thick and thin. It's about support, coming out, doing the things that are needed to show these guys that you care and love them from the top to the bottom. From the top to the bottom. Coach Sims, I have a question from one of our fans. He wants to know, what are the leaders saying to the team to keep them engaged and encouraged, if you have that answer?
Say that again?
What are the leaders, I guess the team leaders, saying to the team to keep them engaged and encouraged during this time of uncertainty?
Well, I think, first and foremost, and something that we talk about around here all the time, they're showing them, or they're leading them by example. It's not about a lot of talk, and I'm a guy that I'm a fiery guy, but I'm not about a lot of rah-rah.
Okay.
If that's your style, that's your style. But we talk to our guys, if you're going to be a rah-rah guy, then you have to be both. You can't be a rah-rah guy and not do things the right way. And I think that's what the leaders on this football team are doing. We have guys that are leaders on this team that have been banged up since week 2. But they're playing. They're practicing every day. And they're showing these younger guys that are here, because this is a different generation that we're dealing with. That the answer is not to tuck your tail and quit, or to say it's going bad and I'm gone. It's to dig in and keep fighting and keep moving forward. So I think that's the message, that when no coaches are around, that's what our team is getting from our leaders.
Definitely.
Well, Coach Sims, I just want to let you know we really do appreciate you coming on and speaking with us, and we're backing you 100%, and we're going to be there Saturday. And we're going to be
and the Saturday after that.
I know. We're going to be there the Saturday after that. Even though you got an off week, we're going to be there. We're going to be there to serve you and your staff and your team. We're going to be there.
Yeah, Coach. We
and
definitely.
I'll say this on the air so everyone can hear it. These guys that are running this show tonight, they're practicing the rain. They're at practice when it's hot. Even in Florida, it's rare, but if it's cold, they're out there. And I just want to tell you guys in front of everyone that I appreciate you.
Coach,
I appreciate what you do. I appreciate the relationships that you have with these players, because that's something that I don't think a lot of folks outside the program understand. These young men, we talk about things at bigger schools and other places. That's the thing I think that sets it apart, because the real loyal fans at a lot of those bigger schools, they adopt these players. Right. They spend time with these players. They develop relationships with these players, because it's one big family. And I'll say that over and over again. I don't care what platform it's on. I just appreciate you guys, and not only just telling them that they made a good play or they did a good job, but talking to them about real life and telling them, hey, pull your pants up. Right. Hey, do this. Right. And I've seen you guys do that. Definitely. Because our coaches do it, and that's how our guys look at you. Because you approach them like that, they feel like you care. And it never matters until they know that you care.
Most definitely, Coach, and that's what we strive to do. And, as Ralph said, and as CC and Jerry, we're here to support you 100% to the end. Through and through, we will be there, and we're encouraging all the other Wildcat fans to join us and do the same. Let's bond together and pull together for this football team and all of Bethune-Cookman athletics. Let's bond together. Let's show our support and love for those guys. Coach Sims, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. I know you got a busy next few days to get ready for beating those Panthers. And if you have any closing words for our audience, we'd love to hear them.
Well, I'll continue to echo exactly what I told you guys at practice today. Let's come out, let's be positive, and let's get behind these kids. I'm not concerned about my feelings, the coach's feelings. It's about these young men. Because at the end of the day, it's their college experience. It's the students at Bethune-Cookman's college experience. That's what it's all about. Those are things that you draw from years down the line, are those experiences. So if there's anything that I could say, come out, support these young men, and stay behind them, because this too shall pass.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
This too shall pass.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We thank you, Coach Sims. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday and getting the W, and we'll be there, as I said, to support along with all the other Wildcat fans. Coach, have a great night, and Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Wait, I don't know if I can call him coach or deacon right now because he's preaching.
I do a little bit of that too.
Hey, thanks for calling in, Coach. We
That's
truly
the
appreciate
only way I lasted this long. I had a praying mama.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
That is it,
there.
Coach.
That's
That
right.
is it, man.
That's right.
Well, have a good evening, Coach, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
All right,
sir.
guys. I
Thank you.
appreciate y'all. Take
Yes,
it
sir.
easy.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
There you have it. If you ever wondered what it was like coming through the headsets, you just heard it. You heard it.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of questions. What are those guys wearing on their heads? Guys, that's the conversations that you hear. That's sideline stuff that, you only have to you have to wear the maroon and gold to know what it's about.
Correct.
You have to wear the maroon and gold to know what it's about.
And just always think about Mary and her girls
Yes.
and how she made Bethune-Cookman University what it is today. Don't think that she didn't have struggles, because she did.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
We want to hear from you. Call us here on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show, 386-868-0635, 386-868-0635. Again, we'd like to thank Coach Sims for calling in and being here with us on the X's and O's show, the exclusive.
Most definitely.
You heard it right from the coach's mouth.
That's right.
You heard it from him. Take it how you want it, but he told the truth and gave it just like it should
Nothing but
be.
the truth.
Listen, I think of all the things that he said was, these guys are creating lifelong memories. Not everyone gets a chance to be a college athlete. And if you are a college athlete, you are creating lifelong memories about that experience. We want that experience to be one. When they look back, it's a positive one. So I thought that was, that was gold. That was as good as it get right there.
That's
and
as good
as
as
Wildcat
it gets.
fans, obviously we want to win games, and we want to pick ourselves up with wins and that sort of thing. But we also understand that we're a family. We're in this together, and so we want to do our part to make sure that we are as supportive as we can be to put those guys in the best position. And so,
Definitely. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome. Caller?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Hello. You're on the X's and O's show. Welcome.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I was on. So I have I listened to the entire segment, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
And first of all, just a couple of things. Jerry made a point regarding how we basically have been in each, almost all but the UCF game. I think the Alabama State game was kind of the one game that I had that uh-oh moment. And that was a game where I got worried with just kind of how things were headed. But in totality of the season, I kind of feel like we've been in all these games, again, minus the UCF game. The issue that I think I'm having right now is with kind of the timing of the HBCU game day article and how that has aligned with the season. And that just, it felt kind of weird to me, because would that article have been written if we were 4-2 or 5-1? And when I saw it and I read it, I'm like, I understand that. And if we were getting like lambasted every single week we go out there, maybe like there's something to all of the internal things that have been going on. Like maybe there's something to say towards that. But because we've been in each one of these games minus the UCF game, it's like really what's going on? You can look at what's happening on the field, and we don't look disciplined, which you guys have already pretty much said. We've had plenty of opportunities to win at the end. So we're 0-6, but it's like we really, I mean, I can't look at any one of those teams and feel like they were like that much better than us. We're not an 0-6 team. And I'll say this, I said some stuff on Twitter about Coach, and I'll be honest, I called for his job. And maybe I was wrong in saying that, because he is a part of the fold, he is a part of the family, but that was just my raw emotions at the time. After hearing him speak tonight, I want to apologize to him as a man, as a fan, as a brother in the fold of Bethune-Cookman University, because he is doing a great job trying to raise these young men, trying to make sure that they have everything that they need. And it's so much more about football. And for him to do what he's doing in the conditions that he's doing them, he should be commended for that. So I want to apologize publicly on the air for calling for his job. That was probably a little bit wrong of me to do. But still,
in the heat of passion, we all do some stuff that,
Right.
Yeah, so we understand.
So
Go ahead, Jerry.
I'll say this. We didn't get to call his name, but I recognize the boy. This is Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good, man.
All right, this is Jerry Bell. Listen, I'll say this about my guy, Steve. Steve is a diehard Wildcat. He is an ex-marching Wildcat. He's very supportive of the band program. He's very supportive of athletic programs. He donates money to Bethune-Cookman. He sends kids to Bethune-Cookman. He recruits to Bethune-Cookman. So this is not just random dudes hanging out at Bethune Grill, eating chicken wings and got a bunch of complaints. He is all BCU, even to the point that he has a merchandise line. I'll let him shout that out in a little bit. We didn't. I don't know if the rest of them know about that, but I'll let you shout that out in a little bit. But he is all Bethune-Cookman. And so I just want to give you that credit, because I think that, stand up for you to come on and say, listen, I called out Coach Sam. I apologize as a man. And so, but that's noble of you. I think the second part is, to talk about, it is hard to win football games when everything is perfect. Ask the University of Michigan. They got all the resources in the world.
Right.
It's hard to win football games when everything's perfect. I think trying to win football games with all of these other obstacles, it makes it even more difficult. Even with that being said, yeah, there are still some things that we are seeing in X's and O's that make it that we think, wait, despite all those other things, this is a game that still could have been won. And so two things can be true at the same time. There are obstacles. There are high mountains. Maybe we're starting off, 10 yards behind the opponent in a 100-yard dash. That might be true. But, it's still some things that we can do to help ourselves, some things that we can do to improve, some things that we can do to walk away and say, clean this up and we can get some wins. We're not an 0-6 team. So, Steve, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think both things can be true at the same time and still recognize, in the face of all of those obstacles, maybe we have to have a little bit more grace at the same, but it doesn't mean that we don't recognize what we're seeing from an X's and O's standpoint.
Yeah, and I think that was basically my whole thing is like, I'm not even looking at anything that's happening from an internal standpoint, although all of that stuff is true. All of that stuff is happening. All of that stuff is really like, it hurts to see what's happening internally. The infighting with the, all the other stuff. Y'all know what's going on. But if we're just talking about football and what we see with our eyes, it's like, I remember I texted Jerry after that UTEP game, and I felt so good. I'm like, man, this team is gonna be, we're gonna be good this year. And it's like we've regressed pretty much every game. So that is, I think that's just the frustration. It's like they gave us that flash in the pan in the first game, and then it was like, man, like what? How did we get here?
Well, Steve, let me ask you this, and I'll ask the other gentleman this, and I'll say this. Some of, I think, why I'm really feeling the way I feel is because we know all the stuff that was going on. We could have wrote that article, that game day release. We could have wrote that article and put even more details in there, but we'll stay away from that because of all the stuff that's going on. But I think some of the frustration is with everything that's going on, it's almost like Bethune-Cookman, we need football. We need that common thread that bring us all together, that give us something all to root for, something all to kind of remind ourselves of our commonality so that we can pull together and band together and overcome all of the obstacles. That's one of the escapes of athletics. And so I think what we're all kind of sensing is, man, we need this. We need this. As a university, we need this. And now, that's fractured and people go to some, and we don't have that common thing that everybody can agree on. So I don't know if y'all feel that same way, but that's been depressing, at least in my heart.
Jerry, I'm going to just add something to that. I read that letter, and I think I read the first paragraph, and I started reading that letter, and I got angry. And the reason I got angry, I don't like people coming into my house telling me what my problems are, because we're well aware of what our problems are. And it kind of rubbed me, that whole letter rubbed me wrong, because that was an outsider telling me what's wrong in my house. And we already know what's wrong in our house. We don't need somebody on the outside telling us what's wrong. So that's the way I looked at that letter.
There you have it.
Fair enough.
Well, Steve, we thank you for calling in to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show, and keep on supporting us. Keep on supporting the Bethune-Cookman football team, and we look forward to hearing from you week after week.
Thank you, guys. If you don't mind, I'd just like to say I'm on my Wildcat Warehouse is an apparel shop online. We're on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, mywildcatwarehouse.com. And it's all cooking gear. We donate a portion of every single purchase back to the school. So it's all for a good cause. Thank you guys again, and I'm signing off. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Go to that website. Get yourself some Cookman gear. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. Talk to the Hill Wildcats Arm Chair QBs. Guys, wow. It's been, it's,
But,
this is how grown folks handle business.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is...
Exactly. And I just want to just echo, something that has stayed with me, what Coach Sim said a little while earlier, when he was on. These coaches are all grown men, and you can say what you want to say about them, but let's leave these kids alone. Let's support them. Let's support them.
Definitely. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening. How you all doing tonight?
Good.
My name is Vernon Jackson. I'm a life member, alumni of the Great Bethune-Cookman, class of '84. Always praying for my Wildcats, and when I make it personal, I call them my cats.
Right on. Right on.
Some of the games I've been to kind of left me I guess with a question mark, because they had opportunities, because I was at their first game from Palm Beach County, come up to Daytona Beach, just prior to the game starting, before the gates opened. We was preparing because the weather had transitioned. We got there, it was not raining. Clouds built up, started raining. Thunder and lightning. The game was delayed, I believe, about 40 minutes or something like that.
That's correct.
Nevertheless, at the end, I told my brother, say, we could have won that game. We had the ball in the end. You can't get it no better than that.
You're right.
And, the outcome wasn't favorable. And then the game homecoming, say, we was in the same position. One, and I think, first down on the 3rd-yard line. And I know things have happened. I read those articles and the finance and stuff like that. But I know that we have the victory. I pray for not only our team, but our school and people in leadership. And I know it's important that with Dr. Bethune and that unveiling that statue, that she was a woman of love, of compassion, of peace, and all those things. And the people that's at Bethune-Cookman, whatever position they're in, if they're not God-fearing people, they need to leave. Because she, being a woman of faith, the school is a school built on the Word of God. And when you build on the Word of God, you can't help but to be successful. And I see victory for our team. And I would like to say, we got a young man here in Palm Beach County. His name is Corey Brown. He plays for Palm Beach County High School. He plays both ways. I would like the coaches sometime to come to Palm Beach County, because we got excellent athletes, but they do not get down here. They go to Miami and Jacksonville, but they need to come to Palm Beach County and see the players we got. And if they can recruit some from this area, I guarantee you, because we have Frank Brown, one of the former players on the team from Palm Beach County.
Larry Brim. We could just
Larry Brim
You
from
could call the
Del
roll.
Rey.
Yeah. Definitely. Toddy Evans.
Get in the coach, get the Palm Beach County, but tonight, please really bring in your mind Jacory Brown. He's number 13. He played for Palm Beach County High School. Look up his stats. This young man is awesome. He's a junior. He got one more year. I'm hoping that Bethune-Cookman will get down here and recruit this young man. His brother wanted to go to Bethune, but Bethune didn't give him the scholarship. The brother at Tuskegee did not play him like they promised. He redshirted. He's disappointed. I told his mom, I hope he come back home and come to Bethune. The brother's name is Jamari Brown, Jamarri, and the brother playing now, junior Jacory Brown. So please keep those two names in ring in the ear.
Go ahead,
I hope
Jerry.
the Brown family is listening right now, because NIL is a thing now. You can actually pay players. I think Brother Vernon gonna get them paid no matter what school they go to. So,
but I want them at Bethune.
So we appreciate all the insight, and if the Brown brothers wind up in Daytona, we know who to credit for that.
Definitely.
Okay. And I'm praying for my Wildcats, and we got to win these games, especially when we play them snakes on the hill.
Week by week. That's what we got to stick to, week by week. Well, Mr. Jackson, we thank you for calling.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. We thank you for calling. We know this is
Thanks for calling.
You're always tuning in. We thank you for that, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Brother Jackson was passionate. We got recruiting advice. We got X's and O's. That was great, man. We love it. And he praying to let y'all know you either you keep with Miss Mary's legacy, or you get going. I love it all.
Right. We have time for one more caller. 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. Saturday is not the only time to get involved with Bethune-Cookman football. It starts way early in the week, and we understand if you're out of town, you can't come to practice. But Thursday night, Hell Wildcats X's and O's show. We have call-ins. Don't sit there and talk under your breath. You can call into the show. Talk to us. We're here for that. It's a no-holds-barred show. Only thing we ask you to do is refrain from cursing. It's a gospel radio station, and we're so blessed for the staff here allowing us to be on the air here on 106.3 FM. Joy 106.3 FM. And, we want to hear from you. We're all here to support Wildcat football. We're all here to support the main thing, and that's the maroon and gold. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome.
Yes, Hale Wildcats. I have listened to you all during the season. You guys are doing an excellent job. My name is none other than Coretta King Butler. I have been a great supporter and a season ticket holder for many, many, many years. And I want to say that you all are putting out the right information. I'm one of the ladies that sat in the rain and sat there and cheered in the rain.
I heard that.
I did not give up. And you know what? Let them know. And I've been sending the word out. Let those guys know we love them.
Most definitely.
We love them, whether they win or lose, because we are family.
Right.
We are a true family.
That's right.
I taught so many times while I was there for 17 years, my students to understand the real legacy of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. See, I can remember some information about the Ku Klux Klan. And when they came up there, listening to my parents, I can remember walking those campuses when Dr. Bethune was there. And one thing that the world cannot take from us is that this legacy of which she not only lived, but what she shared with the rest. Just pray, keep your eyes pointed toward heaven, and love one another, and God will do the rest. He will separate the wheat from the tares. Trust me when I tell you.
Amen.
Amen, Hill.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. Hail Wildcats.
Right.
We thank you for calling in, and thank you for the compliments. And we're here to stand with you and keep pushing our Wildcats forward. We thank you, and we look forward to hearing from you.
And I will
yes, ma'am.
I will be to the games, and I'm on the bus. I just don't come to the stadium. I
There you go. There you go. I heard that. Well, thank you, Ms. Butler, and we look forward to hearing from you next week.
One other question. Was that Steve Perry that called into you that had the clothing?
Jerry?
Say that one more time.
Was that Steve Perry that called in that had the clothing line?
Steve Holmes. His last name is Holmes. Steve Holmes.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good night. Thank you. Preaching tonight, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Preaching tonight.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome.
How we doing, guys? I finally got through.
Yeah, it's been kind of the switchboard's been hot tonight. Welcome to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show.
Dr. Al.
Yeah, it is Marcus. I one of the top fans, true Wildcat. Yeah, it was good to hear from Coach Sims today. He talked on a lot of good things, promising things. I feel, and I definitely look forward to what's coming up this Saturday, as well as the remaining games of the season. We just got to do a couple more things, and we'll be there. That's what I feel. There. We got to just finish strong.
Finish strong.
Yep. Right.
We're almost there. We're almost over that hump. And the main thing is these guys continue to fight no matter what's thrown at them.
Exactly.
You know, a big goose egg in our win column right now. But the same number of guys continue to show up every week after week, and it's going to pay off for them. Yeah. It's definitely going to pay off for them, and we're going to be right there to see it. We will be right there to definitely see it.
I think we really do need to get back to that old-fashioned Wildcat football, pound game to set up the pass.
Most definitely. And we will get there. As we've said numerous times tonight, we have young guys, but it started. You can start to see it's coming together. And when it gets put together, man, watch out.
Right. Exactly.
Get us now.
Oh, yeah.
Get us now.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
when it rises to the top.
Yeah,
when it rises to the top, it's, some teams are going to have to pay dues. So. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some teams are going to have to pay dues.
But y'all, I really appreciate y'all, like what y'all doing. And, one day, one game may meet y'all.
All right, yes, sir. Right. We'll look forward to it. Come up to section B up at the top, and you'll meet us. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Marcus, for calling in. We look forward to seeing you next weekend and Saturday also. All right.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right.
All right. I think we can get one more in. 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635 is the call-in number. Speak to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's Arm Chair QBs.
Say that again.
Whew.
Say it one more time. You said armchair.
Armchair.
Okay.
Listen, I'm looking at the post online. I got a whole bunch of amens and
I know, right? And Miss Emma Price, amen. Never give up, Wildcats. Keep on going. And we know Miss Emma's right there in the corner for the Wildcats, and we're going to keep on pushing. We're going to keep on going at it. You know, Wildcat will continue to fight, claw, and fight. Guys, 386-868-0635. Ralph.
Yes, sir.
October 30th.
October the 30th, we are going to feed the football team and the staff on the football field, on campus. We need your support, and more importantly, we need all the extra money you got. So if you can see, you can find Daryl Williams or Ralph Smith or
Jerry Bell. It will be posted on our website tomorrow on hillwildcats.com and letsgowildcats.org. If you want to make a donation to the cookout, all donations will go towards the cookout for the football team on October 30th.
And if you're in Duval County, you can see CC.
I'm sorry, CC. But again, we're going to continue to support this team, and we're going to do everything possible to help Coach Sims. And I think that's the most important thing we can do now. So if you don't have any donations, still come out and be with us and help us serve the team and the staff. Would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Smith. Is any donation too small?
No, absolutely not, Jerry.
He said that like you were supposed to know, Jerry, but great question, Jerry.
Of course.
I knew the answer already. Yeah, I already knew the answer, but no donations too small. If you $5, $10, $5,000, it all works.
Whatever. We would appreciate it, and I'm sure the coaching staff and the players would appreciate it as well.
As I said, tomorrow we will have the link posted where you can go on and make a donation. You can go to hillwildcats.com or letsgowildcats.org. And that's the site that we can go on to, bless the football team. Bless the football team. So.
And again, everyone who's listening, the game starts 1 o'clock
I was
on
just
Saturday.
about to cover that. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So that means your tailgaters got to be out there at least 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got a homecoming tailgate.
Yeah, you got a homecoming tailgate. Exactly.
You got a homecoming tailgate.
You might want to bring some eggs and bacon for this one instead of
in all actuality, and I know we're not jumping ahead, but the next two. So the last home game against Alcorn State will be a noon kickoff. So just get your calendar ready. Put it in your phone. Everybody now almost has smartphone, except for Ralph. He still got the little flip razor or whatever.
There we go.
But the game this Saturday in Daytona Stadium is at 1 p.m.
o'clock.
If you get there at 4, you can look at the new Jumbotron and say hallelujah because we'll have a W on there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Guys, great show tonight. Ralph, as you said earlier, I know we read the article and everything, or you got to the first line, but even there was a YouTube in regards to that article. what do you truly believe that this Wildcat football program will accomplish?
Well, just having Coach Sims here tonight and people hearing him firsthand, and the gentleman who said he had criticized him, but he had to come back and apologize, because only real men apologize when they know they were wrong. And I think, Coach Sims, if you're out there listening to us, people need to hear more of you, and people need to know who you are and what you stand for. And I think you did a pretty good job of explaining that tonight, and we truly do appreciate your time with us.
Definitely appreciate your time. Definitely. CC,
yeah,
closing words.
Yeah, from my standpoint, I think that we just need to continue to supporting our Wildcats. This is a time that we haven't seen in a long time, 0-6. However, these kids are steady playing, and these coaches are steady coaching. So let's come out Saturday, and be passionate, about our Wildcat football, and let's cheer them on to win.
Just as these players leave everything on the field, you as a fan, leave everything in the stands. Exactly. Give it all you got. You never know when your stand-up defense,
right,
might push them that extra mile.
That's right.
To go forward. We talk about finish. We start fast. Okay, we got the start fast down. We have to finish as fans also.
Right, exactly.
We have to will it to be, and that's through and through. That's here in Daytona. That's on the road. That's supporting the Wildcats. If you can't be there, Cat Eye Network, ESPN Plus. There's a way to support.
Right. Exactly.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Cass.
Absolutely.
Jerry, closing words.
Let's make the home field advantage a home field advantage. And that only happens by supporting our team. If there's one thing that we have done consistently at Hell Wildcats, is support this team. We bring in these radio shows. We organize trips. We organize feeding the team and all those sort of things. Is because we want to have the opportunity to give these guys the level of support that they deserve. Sometimes we don't get the results that we want in football games. We love to win. We all want to win every game. Sometimes we don't get those results. But we are still a family, and we're still here to support one another, and we are committed to doing it. But we don't want to do it with just a handful of us. We want this to grow. We want there to be more and more. So, listen, there's not a whole lot going on in Daytona this upcoming Saturday. Call a friend, call a neighbor, take a kid, say let's decide to go to the Bethune-Cookman football game and cheer on our Wildcats to get our first win in the SWAC.
I tell you what, don't let me catch you at Biketoberfest and not in the stadium. Don't let me catch you at Biketoberfest and not in the stadium. It's a great place to be. It's going to be great weather this weekend. Come out, 1 o'clock game. So you'll be out of there before the sun goes down. And it won't be that hot. If it will, bring a hat.
With a W.
Grab some water. Exactly. Concession stands wide open. Now, I'm going to ask you guys final scores tonight. We're going to change. We're going to change the theme up and will it to be. Fans, make sure you're there at 1 p.m. this Saturday, Daytona Stadium, as our Wildcats take on the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Also, October 30th, make sure that if you can't be there, that you we're asking for a donation towards the football team and the meal we're preparing for the football team. You can either go on hellwildcats.com or letsgowildcats.org. If you can't do either, let's do some sweat equity and come out and support the guys. Meet the players. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. And while you're here in Daytona, make sure you go to the News Journal Center and see Dr. Bethune's statue at the News Journal Center. Yeah.
Now listen, don't decide that you're gonna come to meet the players and get a free free meal and not contribute.
right.
We're feeding the players, not the community. That's the thing. We feed the team.
Yeah, this is not a community picnic. This is for the team and the staff.
Right.
So thank you, Jerry.
For Ralph Smith, Mr. Cruz, that's CC Cruz, Mr. Jerry Bell, I'm Daryl Williams. Hail Wildcats. Have a good night and go Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bethune-Cookman University alma mater.
Let's close it out properly.